Welcome to the Bard's College. I'm the headmaster here. How may I help you? Always a pleasure to meet a prospective bard. You should be aware that many apply, but we accept very few people. When possible, we ask applicants to perform tasks the college needs completed. In this case, I do have a task befitting an aspiring bard. Elisif has forbidden the burning of King Olaf, a festival put on by the Bard's College. We need to change her mind. To convince her, I want to read King Olaf's verse, a part of the poetic Edda, the living history of Skyrim. Unfortunately, the verse was lost long ago. Yes, according to Giraud, our history's keeper, the portion of the Edda dealing with King Olaf might still exist in Dead Man's Respite. I need you to retrieve the poem. Not much, to be honest. Their return was a shock to us all. Giraud Germain has some tomes about them in the library, if you're interested. Not much, but as a bard, I find the whole affair depressing. There are no heroes in this war, no winners to be had, and no real conclusion. If you want something a bard can dig into, look to the dragons. 1,000 years from now, Skyrim will have changed rulers dozens of times. But the return of the dragons, that story is once in an era. I think Giraud here would give you the best explanation of both it and the history of King Olaf's verse. You should speak to him about it. As you may be aware, Elisif's husband, High King Torrig, was recently killed. Elisif mourns her husband deeply, and she feels that a festival that burns a king in effigy is distasteful. I tried to convince her the festival is many centuries old and celebrates solitude, but I need proof. I believe King Olaf's verse will provide that proof. I wish you luck in finding the verse.
Good to see you. You know what I love about the Bard's College? It's not the stories or the festivals or even the women. The best thing about the college is the friendships. I agree. Lovers are like bottles of wine. They come and go. Friends are like a good blade, always by your side. Although, sometimes you have to be careful not to nick yourself with it. But that's normal when you get a bunch of competitive people together. For the next 10 minutes, today's my last day. I'm going to travel Skyrim for a bit and see if it can inspire me. Maybe I'll run into you again someday. After all, Nirn's a big place, but a small world. Yes? I've given up music, actually. These days, I mostly work with poetry, although I've been known to add a drum. I also tend to take a lot of liberties with the verse. Jorn and a lot of the Nords might not approve, but I feel an outsider's perspective is the best way for the work to evolve. Sure, what would you like to hear? Certainly, one of my favorites. I have walked the endless grains, with only the sun as my priest. Water is but a beggar's meal, fleeting in the life of a desert king. To live in the Alikir is a life of emptiness, with only your spirit to guide you. Yet here in the prison of the heart is where true men find salvation. Good to see you. To say the least, Aya has Protea, Eta has Ildi, even Edwain has that Nord he keeps blabbing on about. And I have Jorn. A natural one. You see, we're similar in a lot of ways. We both got deep, baritone voices. We're both good with the lute, but better with the drum. There's only one real difference between us, but it's a big one. No, but I guess you have a point. What I meant was we have completely different tastes. He's the brother I never had. Some people think of competition as survival of the fittest, when it's really about making each other better. But either way, the important thing is they're competing, and with competition comes progress. He likes the big, sweeping epics, stories about war, gods, and dragons. Which is fine, but I prefer tales about people. My work focuses on the war that goes on inside us. Safe travels.
I have faith that you'll return with King Olaf's verse. I have faith that you'll return with King Olaf's verse.
It's been my honor to perform at the Blue Palace on many occasions. His late lordship was quite the admirer.
I'm Dean of Lute at the Bard's College, and no, I don't give private lessons.
What's the hurry?
Good to meet a prospective bard. He's sending you after King Olaf's verse, then. That's good. We shouldn't leave it lying around now that I figured out where it is. The verse was Svagnir's contribution to the poetic Edda, the living history of Skyrim. Each bard adds to the Edda in his or her time. And a very ancient one. The verse criticized the reigning King Olaf. He was so incensed the bard was put to death and all the copies burned. At least, that's what we thought until I translated some ancient texts a year or so ago. We now believe King Olaf buried the truth with the bard. If I'm right, Svagnir and King Olaf's verse lie in Dead Men's Respite, along with the burial chamber of King Olaf himself. Be careful. You might find more than just King Olaf's verse in Dead Man's Respite.
Skald, bard, these are just titles. Whether you sing for love or war, all that matters is that you sing from the heart.
Meals are served to bards at designated times. Find an inn if you want to make requests. You look a little sturdier than most of the popinjays around here.
You're new here, right? Welcome to the Bard's College. It's like a musical museum.
Youngest bard at the Bard's College, at your service.
Lady Atia says my voice is second only to hers, but she's selling me short.
I wish only to graduate and enroll with the Legion. My drums will lead our troops to victory. And why wouldn't I be? We sing tales of kings, queens, and their politics, 'tis true. But do you know who really makes history? The person who writes it. Stop by again sometime. I'll sing for you.
Wintery. No, wintry. It betrays its wintry master. That's it! Let's see that fool of a Nord top this. Only the ugliest, most despicable, most talentless man in all of Skyrim. Now he thinks to become a bard. I'll become thrice the bard he ever dreamt of being. For that reason, I have started this poem, and with it I will end all debate. Well, typically something of this stature requires decades to perfect. Even for someone of my talents, it has taken months to get this far. Yet I have made significant progress nonetheless. Perhaps you would like me to bless you with a verse? You're well-mannered, Sirrah. The honor is mine to read to one so noble, but I assure you the pleasure will be all yours. This poem is based on a vacant home I passed by in Whiterun, following a mounted duel with a Nord. The cave is the heart where the dragon tongue sings, and the torchbug pens poetry upon a naked leaf. Here lie 7 generations of smells, where beds never cool and windows never shut their eyes. Where on a midst of sun's dusk the sky betrays its wintry master, where the sun dances with the nightshade and spells cast calm on the day. It's poetic license. What other plant has the word tongue in it? It's not as if most people would even know that. Only alchemists and adventurers would point that out, and persnickety ones at that. 2 groups of dullards that would never deign to hear a poem. I don't know his name and I don't care to. I imagine to utter it would be some sort of Daedric malediction opening a portal to oblivion. You'll know him by his looks. He's as ugly as a shalk, as graceful as a golem, and as fat as a sea drake. And much like those drakes of Blackmarsh, his entire existence is an utter abomination. Easy. You can find him by his smell. When it comes time to deliver my poem, I'll follow that specific trail, to my nose's regret. The smell he emits is unlike any other. It's as if all the world's mildew collected in a single boot and was left to ferment in a dragon's anus. I dare say he must be a werewolf of some kind, the way he drags his hairy knuckles on the dirt. A lucky guess, no doubt. Evidently, the brute didn't make the same assessment of you. Clearly, he's throwing spit to the wind and hoping it hits something other than his face. How should I know? He's the one who started this quarrel, but I aim to finish it, and I just about have. Just 3 more lines. Why wouldn't I have animosity for the one who continues to befoul my honor, and do so in a fashion that even a coward would find reproachful? I've challenged him to as many duels as he has fleas, but he has bribed, cheated, lied, and stolen to ensure his survival. Now he simply opts to flee. Simple. Words travel with you. They stick to the inside of your mind. My verse will worm its way into his mind like a poison, gnawing away at the tips until it burrows a hole to the heart of madness. It is not death I speak of, but the death of his dream. I will make him weep until the widows pity his soul, and then I will kill him. Of course. In fact, I was waiting for you to ask. Which duel shall I relate to you? The 2 I recall most vividly was the bare-knuckle brawl and the duel of spiced wine. Sure. My servant and I were attending a party at the Thalmor embassy when someone mentioned a delightful bard that reminded her of Rassilon. Of course, I recognized the fungal odor of dead animal musk immediately. As there are no weapons in the embassy, I was forced to challenge the fat golem to a bare-knuckle brawl. I would have won easily, but the scoundrel managed to sneak a shiv past the guard. His every jab was a slash. Still, I would have trounced the cur had he not cut my forehead, which blinded my vision. It ended in another draw. That day the Nord was here in solitude. The fat boar asked me, "What is it this time? Dice? Daggers?" But I told him my weapon of choice was wine. It was a drinking duel. We spread 21 bottles on a table and took 10 each at random. The remaining bottle was a cure disease potion. It would be given to the winner. Of course, it could only be imbibed when one of us had died from intoxication. Yes, after 5 bottles, if we were both standing, we would take a break. We both were allowed to eat, provided the food came from the inn. The brute went for a haunch. I made no such request. I walked behind the counter and plucked my choice from the rack. Garlic. Earlier, my servant had asked the local alchemist what foods would help me resist poison. That was one of them. With that, victory was assured. The Nord was halfway through bottle number 7, but it's then that his monkey lips curled into a smile. Because he was up to no good. I could already see the flies milling about in his head when he smashed the bottle on the table. Then, like a frenzied troll, the fiend swung the broken glass at my neck. I was about to demand his head for breaking the rules when I realized my mistake. I said our weapons would be wine bottles, but I failed to specify in what way. With idiots, you have to explain things without implications. As you wish. Certainly. Which deal would you like to hear about? As you wish. Yes, undoubtedly you wish to know my authorial intent. While there are countless deeper meanings, the basis of the poem is about how caves are a home for the undead whose winter never comes. A hereditary affliction. I have my father's eyes. It is a mark of noble ancestry. Many years, more than I care to count. My clan made its fortunes long ago, and now we spend our time leisurely, donating to the arts. Most of the time we make sizable donations through gold, but I believe that my poetry will serve as an equally charitable measure. Certainly. It seems you're a person of high caliber after all if you seek to hear my voice, knowing it will sour all other notes. What song shall I play? Bards often share tales of heroes with flair, like Ysmir and Olaf One-Eye. But none can compare to Aildi the bear, who moved heaven and earth with her cry. It began with an oath to drive out the foes, the dark ones whose faces were white. They built boats that were long, men 500 strong, on tears that flooded the night. But the weather was fair as a maid's golden hair, like springtime in old Strathmackay. That's when Aildi the bear spun a wind from the air and wrestled a storm from the sky. The wind in their sails for glory they hailed, threw ghosts to the rim of the sky. But none would be there if not for Aildi the bear, whose voice was the echo of Kine. I may be a gentleman, but I can't let the Nord's crimes go unpunished. As I have no heir, I plan on donating everything I own to the college.
Formal training may have worked for me, but it's not for everyone. Some of the best bards never set foot in the college.
take pity on an old madman.
You lost? Watch what you're doing. Hello, my child. RK, watch over you. All my life, I practically grew up in the hall. My father and mother were the priest and priestess of RK before me, you see? I believe I was put here to protect this place from the darkness that pervades Solitude. This city has a long history of madness and murder. The Wolf Queen, Pelagius, the death of High King Toric, and now public executions. My books tell the stories, have no doubt. As pretty as its streets are, as jovial as the bards may be, darkness is drawn to Solitude. You mean Rogvir? Yes, I made an appeal to Captain Aldous. He allowed Rogvir to have a proper Nord burial, as is the custom in Solitude. May Arche bless you with a long life.